Should know that. Okay. And hopefully that's not a problem for anybody. I will not be strong arming you to buy anything. Okay. We meet on the second Tuesday each month. Please mark your calendar in advance. When you sign in and you give me your email address, I'll put you on the email list. I'm the only one that has access to that list, and I don't sell it to anybody, not even Serene Innovations, so your contact information is safe with me. I send out one email a month, maybe two. Okay. We've had 2 small group meetings. The first one was just 2 people, and I think it was pretty good. And Cyril, you're right here. You were part of that. And that was in May, and in June, we just already had one. The room was full. We had 12 people, and it was really a good session. I'm offering the next one is going to be Friday the 14th in the conference room, which is right behind the box office. And everybody who's on the email list, I'll be sending out an email, and you can RSVP or you can sign up. There's another sign up, but I need those clipboards back. Seating is limited. There's only 12 tops. You cannot get another person in that conference room. So this is meant to be a small group. This is a perfect time to catch up on information you need. Maybe you weren't here when I gave the talk on how to buy a hearing aid. I can be happy to provide that information in this little meeting. It's at 1 o'clock, Friday the 14th, Clubhouse 3 in the conference room. So sign up or wait for the email. Okay. July. This is for July. Yeah. I have one scheduled for August, but I may take that month off, so I'm not going to take any You have to make reservations because we just can't take more than 12 people. There's no meeting. We're dark for July and August. There's no Hearing Well Club meeting. In September, I've invited Paul Sanchez, who is the CEO of the Speech, Language, Pathology, and Audiology and Hearing Aid Dispensers Board. This is the board that oversees licensing of hearing aid dispensers, audiologists, and speech pathologists. And he's going to come and talk to us about what the requirements are for each license. So you will know how what is required to get a license as a hearing aid dispenser, what is required to be an audiologist, and what is required to be a speech pathologist. And also about filing complaints. He'll talk to you about how that's done and how all that happens and the whole. So that is a meeting I think that a lot of people will get a lot out of, and you never know when you're going to need that information. Okay. So I have something, I'm going to read something here. This is a letter that passed by me. And then I'm going to turn the microphone over to you. A friend of mine with severe hearing loss recently contacted me to ask for input about how to handle the following situation. His partner's family is not making efforts to include him in group conversations, such as by not making sure he can see their lips to speech read them. He's consequently not understanding anything at all that is going on in family get-togethers, and he feels very lonely. I think this kind of situation is actually pretty common among people with severe hearing loss. I believe it's a major reason why many people with hearing loss experience depression. I thought I'd ask if others have had success in this regard, and how? One thought that comes to mind is to try to have conversation in groups of 2 or 3 in ideal communication environments with individual members of the group. This would let them know as a person, this would let them get to know him as a person and recognize what a significant difference it makes for his speech comprehension when he could lip read them. This would also, they could also discuss ideas on how to improve communications in a larger group. Sadly, I know that some individuals have incredible difficulty accommodating the needs of people with hearing loss. Some speak incredibly fast and never slow down their speech, which can be extremely tiring for the person with hearing loss. Others have accents, missing teeth, overhanging mustaches. Got any mustaches in the room? Okay. Or highly unusual speech. Very high-pitched speech can also be impossible to understand. I mean, if I talk like this, it would be very difficult. Okay. Others, in one group where 2 people had missing teeth and 2 others had abnormal speech, I'm resigned to not understanding the conversation in that group at all. But I hope that in most groups, the majority of members ought to be able to accommodate the needs of hard of hearing people. So, where do we go from here? Let me see if I can turn this off. Has this happened to anybody? It's happened to you. Where's the other microphone? You got it? I'm going to be stuck right here. Okay. So, Betty, let me have Betty, which is right in front here. Yeah.
My family.
Can you tell me what happened to you? What story can you tell? And what did you do about it?
Well, we're sitting around in the living room or something, and I had suggested that I can't understand what they're saying between the 2 of them. I said, unless you don't want me to hear what you're saying, I said, you either have to face more towards my area, look at me so I can read your lips, or speak up louder because it's very difficult for me. Same with when you're in the car. If you're driving or if you're in back, they're talking and you can't hear what they're saying, and that's very frustrating. And when you go to events and you're in a group or at a table with a lot of people, I find myself almost by myself because I can't hear what they're saying, so I don't get to listen or hear or join in whatever's going on, and it's frustrating. That's it.
This happened to anybody else? I'm just wondering if anybody has any solutions. When you ask somebody to slow down or speak a little bit louder or enunciate, did that work? Did it work for anybody?
Slower, yes.
Slower, yes. But then they ramp up.
Yeah, pretty soon they get involved in their conversation and they just start going fast.
I know. Well, when somebody gets excited, they have a tendency to talk too fast. So, yeah. Any other communication situations that maybe we need to find a solution for? Anybody have a bad week? Or a misunderstanding that was funny? Or maybe not so funny? I'm gonna wait until somebody has something. Daniel, okay.
One of the things that I've had a problem with is when you're on the telephone, you're talking to a service personnel, it's a little loud. Louder? No. Oh. And they start talking a little on the fast side. What I've learned to do is say, now I'm going to stop them and say, I'm going to have to ask you to do something that's very difficult to do. I'm going to have to ask you to slow down because that's part of my hearing loss. And if you don't slow down, I'm not going to get it all. And just in a few minutes, they're back on their pattern. I frequently tell them, I told you it wasn't very easy, didn't I? But usually they are very cooperative, but you have to let them know. Don't apologize. Just try to have a sense of humor about it.
On my message machine, I ask when they leave a message to please speak slowly and enunciate, and it works very well for me if they're warned ahead of time.
When you're leaving that message for them to speak slowly and clearly, it's a good idea if you also speak slowly and clearly, enough so that they recognize and they will mirror the way you're speaking. Yes.
Well, my husband put a message on the phone very similar to yours, and he spoke. He's got a great voice. He said, please speak slowly and clearly, and we'll get back to you. And it was over with. I mean,
I also, on my message machine, said, if you don't leave a message, you will not hear from me for the commercial calls.
That gets their attention.
There you go.
I think Sue has I think that, well, go ahead, Sue.
This is, I don't know if it's sad or funny, but this happened years ago, and I was already wearing a hearing aid. I got on the phone with I can't even remember what the business was, but I made the call. And the woman that answered the phone was like, you couldn't even hear what she was saying. So I said to her, I can't hear you, could you speak up? Same thing. So then I said, I have a hearing problem, ma'am, and I would really appreciate it if you would speak up. Same thing. So finally I said to her, either get me somebody else or get me a man on the phone. She hung up on me.
I had an IRS agent hang up on me. Hi, Judy.
Hi.
I asked Judy to share a story. Is this going to be the story?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I came here a month ago to the meeting, very unhappy. I had purchased a hearing aid through my insurance company, and after going there, I found out I didn't like the service that was going to be provided. So I never even actually had the hearing aids because the woman who was supposed to take care of me had a young child at home, and the child got sick, things got canceled. So I came in here and I saw Ann, and I canceled the original hearing aid. I went in there the same day, and my life has basically changed quite a bit since that time. I didn't realize how much I wasn't hearing. Now sometimes I'm hearing too much. I'm going to call broadband and tell them to take off the closed captioning because it covers half the screen. And I had to turn the television down from 20 to 11, basically. And I haven't had it a month yet. And I learned how to take them in and out. And that was a big deal for me, but I conquered it. So I'm sorry I waited so long. That's all I have to say.
Do you have a telecoil in those hearing aids?
Yes, I do, but I'm very happy with what I have so far.
Okay.
I have an Android phone. That's how far back I am.
When you're ready to use it, it's there and it will serve you.
Okay,
Good.
thank you.
I think Dwayne has something to say.
Hi. I had a really hard time with my hearing aid. When I went to the Braille Institution, because I'm a low vision, and when I go to class for the Braille, and it's pretty rough for me to hear the instructor or volunteer or tutor, whatever it's called. The reason is, in the class, they're talking too loud. I could not hear what my instructor or tutor, as I was reading the Braille to them. If I was mistake or I don't understand what the book said, they'll repeat to me. But with the people talking too loud, couldn't hear. So I finally talked to the instructor. But the best for me is I'm wanted to get sitting by on the side, no background, just nobody behind me. Because if I was in the other side, people were talking, I couldn't hear. And so I could 2 days a week for the Braille. Wednesday, the first time I went in, I used to go Thursday and Friday, but then they don't have a Friday class, so I go Wednesday. That's the worst one I ever have. And so that's why I'll be patient until the end of the semester, so I'll never go back on Wednesday. But Thursday, the guy next to me, Bill, he talked real loud. I can hear him better. And I appreciate he helped me to correct the word to me. That helped me a lot. But if you're around with the people, you can't hear anything. That's pretty rough for me.
So the people, the Braille people, really should be
Well, they
trying
don't.
to accommodate your hearing loss. They
Yeah.
understand accessibility. They understand accommodating. So it's a good thing you talk to the instructor and you
Yeah.
you get them to
Right.
get some assistance for you. They should be able to do
Well,
that.
I will try because I did ask for an interpreter, ASL, but they don't provide.
Oh.
And even I go to Department of Rehab, they don't provide.
Okay.
I don't understand.
Well, talking to the administrator is definitely the answer.
Yeah, okay.
So there's also some other stories in the room, and what happened? Where did Gene go? Or did he leave? There he is. Okay. Basically, I would like to ask ask for you to tell other people in the room some of the benefits you've had for coming to this meeting. I have people ask me all the time, well, why should I come to this meeting? And, you know, I don't need to buy hearing aids. Well, I don't sell hearing aids. We don't sell anything here. So we're just here to provide information and education. So, and Jean, I think you promised to talk about your experience here.
Okay. You want to hear about my experiences? I played a trumpet in a band, and I started playing in high school. Played all through high school, through college, graduated from college majoring in music. And I taught, well, before I taught, I was in an Army band for 3 years. And then I taught high school band for 20-some years. So I've been around that loud music all the time. And finally, I retired from teaching and moved to California like 20 years ago, and went into business with my son, who's in completely unrelated to music, sporting goods and sports apparel and that type of thing. And I continued to play in a jazz band and a big band, swing band, and I still play. But about 5 years ago, I started realizing I'm not hearing everything. So I went to a hearing aid dispenser, and he fitted me out with a hearing aid, and I didn't like it. So I waited about another year, and I got to do something about this. So I went to another hearing aid dispenser, and he fixed me up with, and I didn't, I was a little bit worried about my appearance. I didn't want anything sticking out all over the place. So he fixed me with Inconel hearing aids, and they've been doing fine. I've been very satisfied with them, and I enjoyed coming to the club. I get some ideas every time I come here. I pick up something, and I like to go to movies a lot. And one bit that Tony mentioned a couple years ago, that most of the theaters have hearing aids, a hearing aid, or now they have captions. They have caption glasses. The Edwards theaters have caption glasses, and the AMC has a little caption device. So when you go to buy a ticket for the theater, you just ask them for it, and they'll provide that for you, and it makes the movie more enjoyable. And then also, Tony mentioned about the theater, Segerstrom. They have a hearing
The
show where you can
Segerstrom.
Segerstrom, yeah. That they have a hearing device. So a lot of things are happening, and you just have to find out about them. So again, I enjoy the club and all the information. I think Tony does a great job. She ought to get a big hand. Let's give a big hand for Tony. And I have caption call, which is great.
Marcia?
Okay, Tony gave me a very good suggestion. When I go to the theater, I really have a hard time hearing. And you had the gentleman from the theater talk about the neck loops. He had mentioned you put it next to your hearing aid. And I did that recently, and it was such a big improvement, because when it's down on your chest, on my chest, it didn't work at all. So, sticking it up next to my hearing aid with a clip or something was a real big improvement.
Good.
So I
Yeah,
appreciate
there's little tips to get by.
Yeah.
There's
Fred?
Hi, Herb.
New topic regarding the telecoil loop that you have here. I'm finding sitting in this chair, if I lean inward and there's one of the ladies is speaking, the telecoil doesn't come through. But if I lean back towards the wall, it does. So I don't know if it's my hearing aids or if it's the service here in this room, but I am either going in or out of the telecoil feature by just moving back and forth in my chair.
What I'd recommend is move 2 seats over and try the same thing. You're right near the wall, so you might be getting some of the feedback here. Also, the T-coils are made in different hearing aids. They are positioned differently, so it could be that when you turn sideways, you are changing the frequency or the transmission. So if you moved over 2 chairs and then tried that same thing, you could tell whether or not it's the loop or the hearing aid. So if we continue to talk and you turn sideways and you turn that way, do they sound the same as when you go in the middle? No change. So it's probably the fact that you're near the wall, and that's giving the wires right here at the edge. Well, the reason he said there's a definite increase in clarity when he moves towards the wall, why? Because the wire is right here, so you're getting a stronger pull. So what you would do is go back to your hearing care provider and ask them to take the T-coil program and boost it up.
You're seeing Brad at the VA?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Anybody else?
Elaine?
Well, I just wanted to say that I found out about the caption call phone through Tony, and I did get a caption call telephone, and I find it very helpful for 2 reasons that sometimes people don't think of. Number one, when I'm looking at the captions to try to determine what the person is saying, sometimes it will say inaudible and unintelligible. So I don't hesitate to share that with the person that's talking on the other end of the phone, so they realize it's not just me that's having a problem, but they truly are inaudible and unintelligible. And then the other thing I like about it that we sometimes forget is that you can save the call that comes through on caption call just by pressing a button on the phone. And then if you have had some words that you weren't able to distinguish in the conversation, you can just go back and play that call again. You don't get your input, but you get the input from the other person. That's what is printed out on the caption call phone, and I find that very helpful.
Just one little suggestion when you're saving your captions or when you're listening to the conversation. Make sure that the captioner, there actually is no captioner. It's a voice recognition system. So there's an operator who's listening to what your caller is saying and re-voicing or echoing that conversation into speech recognition software, into a computer that converts it to text and sends it to the phone. So it's a good idea when somebody gives you a phone number, just read it and say, well, did you say 456-789? Okay, good. So you want to make sure that it was captioned correctly, because if you're totally depending on those saved captions and it didn't save properly and the number was not correct, then you're in trouble. It's happened to me. So addresses, phone numbers are really, yeah. And I didn't finish what I was saying. So you have to have internet at home for caption call, and a landline phone, and that's basically. And you have to get a certification of hearing loss from your hearing healthcare provider. So I have information up here on the table. So for those, I know Jean was one of my first customers at Caption Call. I have a lot of Caption Call customers. How many people here are Caption Call customers that I installed your phone? Yeah, see? Yay. I didn't install your phone, no. Okay, but that was back in 2011. I haven't worked for Caption Call since 2014, so it's been 3 years. Can you believe that? It's been 3 years. Some people still call me and want to tell me they have a problem with their phone, so. Okay.
I have a caption call on my iPad, but I find if I don't use it for a period of time, it disconnects.
Yeah, they want you to use it. So, call time or call somebody once in a while and just keep it going.
But that always happens.
Yeah, but the iPad is so great. If if you're laying in bed or on the sofa and you want to make a phone call and you've got your iPad there, then that just makes it so easy you don't have to get up, So, yeah. And it's also good for traveling. Yeah. Yes, Sue? Wait for the mic. It's coming. The mic is coming.
Making me run.
I forgot what I was going to say. Goodbye.
Something about traveling?
It happens to the best of us.
Something about traveling?
Okay. Okay, somebody else has a story. Anything to do with your hearing loss.
Are there any topics that people would like to be covered in the next round as Tony starts to put together speakers? Would you like to have more interaction with each other? Would you like to have some group time to talk?
I'm going to have you come to talk. I'm going to have you
Yeah?
stand up.
A couple people said yes to that, Tony. And what would that look like? Would you like people to talk about their experiences in a small group versus, the frustration or how to handle things? Sure? Okay. Yeah?
We could have kind of like a topic or something and sit around like a table and talk to each other, just practice just talking on the different, instruments that we have and so forth. It would be.
So even a how to use your current instruments, maybe all the cochlear implant people getting together and saying, this is what I do, or the hearing aid people. Okay, there's one of your topics.
Okay. So,
My turn?
now you remember?
Wait, hold on, Mercedes.
Oh, okay, somebody else has got the mic.
Well, I just wanted
Hold
to say the club turned me on to Ann, and you took care of me when no one else would, and gave me the ideas and the courage to go back and talk to a hearing aid dispenser. So you want to be very sure that you have someone who's telling you everything and the truth. This lady will do it.
Thank you. Yeah, she just had some concerns. She didn't know how to handle them, and so equipping her with information to go back and talk and get things resolved.
I was wondering if the cable companies such as Verizon or any of them, do they have any stipulations for people, for ADA disabled persons?
Telephones are rated, like with T3 or T4. You want to look for a cell phone that has a rating that for hearing aid compatibility. So you want to look for a T3 or T4. You're going to find that in the specifications. Sometimes it'll be on the little card that's on the display. You can certainly ask the sales rep in the store that you're at. So that's very important. I also want to suggest that there are captioning apps that you can use on either an iPhone or an Android. But you have to have simultaneous voice and data. You're probably not going to remember that. I'll remind you when it comes time. Most companies, most phones can do that. Sprint is the only network that does not provide simultaneous voice and data. So if you have if you have a phone from Sprint, you will not be able to use the captioning app. That may not be important to some people, but for those who are trying to get an app to work on a Sprint phone, it's not going to work. So. Yesterday I was at a meeting. I just want to relay some information because I'm always surprised that there are people who have hearing aids in a drawer somewhere. Anybody here have got hearing aids in a drawer? You're not wearing them? Oh, Herb. Oh. 2 pairs in the drawer. So yesterday there was one man who got hearing aids 3 years ago, and they've been sitting in a drawer. And another man is not happy he wasn't wearing his, and there was a woman who said she didn't want to bother the hearing aid provider. She didn't want to bother them. Shh. And there was a problem with her hearing aids. Well, we take better care of our automobiles than we do our hearing aids. We get an oil check and we fill it with gas and we run it through the car wash and we get it waxed and all of that. Hearing